Welcome to episode 16 of 254 Rugby. A lot to talk about in today's episode. But first, there was some breaking news. The national sevens teams, the Kenya Lionesses and Kenya Shujaa, earning a 90 million Kenya shilling sponsorship from M-Pesa. We're also going to look at Kenya Cup Match Day 1, how it went down, how KRU Championship Match Day 2 went down. We're going to have a look at the Dubai Sevens and rate Shujaa's chances. We are also going to talk about the Autumn Internationals and the World Rugby Awards. My name is Michael Kwambo, and joining me, as always, is Walter Orangi. How are you doing, Walter?
Good to hear from you, Michael. I'm all right. How are you?
Sorry, I'm great. I was a bit distracted. I was just responding to a message, but I'm great. It's been a good day for Kenyan rugby. As you can see there on the screen, the national sevens teams, the Lionesses and Shujaa, earning 90 million shilling sponsorship from M-Pesa. I know that M-Pesa will be the shirt sponsors for the Lionesses, and they will feature on the back of the shirt for the Shujaa. Your sentiments about the sponsorship?
Well, my sentiments are, Michael, that this is one of the best days that you can say is etched on our calendar this year. I mean, SportPesa are on our shirt. Now we have an addition which is M-Pesa, and it's been a long time coming, Michael. I'm really happy that the girls have a front of the shirt sponsor and somebody who's now going to be remunerating them just like the men are remunerated, and it's very important that the girls have landed this sponsorship. Now, on a grand scale of thing, we talked about this way of looking at corporate partnerships a few weeks ago or a few episodes ago. And I believe that this is an opportunity now for the game to thrive, Michael, just because the Kenya Sevens team now will have to focus entirely on delivering on and off the pitch. So it's quite a momentous day for the Kenya Rugby Union and of course the Kenya Sevens and of course the Kenya Lionesses, who are now fully sponsored with M-Pesa. And I mean, our shirt now looks good. We have two sponsors, Michael, front and back.
Absolutely. I'm particularly happy for the Lionesses because I do think that this is the first meaningful sponsorship that they've ever received. Everything else has been token sponsorships. This is something meaningful. It's good to know that the players will be benefiting from this in terms of payment. Their welfare will be taken care of. And let's give credit where it's due, and kudos to the KRU chairman, Sasha Mutai, for pushing through this alongside the team that he worked with. Sign of better things to come for Kenyan rugby. You know, we're always talking, there's a lot of negativity about Kenyan rugby, but, you know, with such kind of deals, with such kind of motions, particularly for the women, I think it's good. It's one of those small term gains. Just don't lose sight of the goal, which ideally is to secure the bag for the Kenyan rugby fraternity.
Yeah, definitely, Michael. It's very good for the Lionesses, and let's also not forget that this is a vote of confidence in terms of the corporate world looking forward to engaging with the rugby community, and it says so much in terms of what the brand is. I mean, there's no bigger brand in this country, Michael, than M-Pesa. M-Pesa touches lives of literally all Kenyans, whether directly or indirectly. And yeah, I'm really, I mean, upbeat and really happy for the Kenya Rugby Union. And it's now time to actually maximize and actualize the potential that there lies in between the sponsorship, that is the partnership between Safaricom and, of course, the Kenya Rugby Union.
Yeah, now let's move from sevens to 15s and local rugby for that matter. The Kenya Cup kicked off this past weekend. The results are there on our screens. I think we called it correct. Big results for KCB, Menengai Oilers, Kenya Harlequin and Kabras Sugar. Close result between Nondis and the Strathmore Leos, as we called it. I was rather disappointed by the scoreline at Kenyatta University. I expected that to be a close contest. Kenyatta University Black Blood defeating Nakuru by 27 points to 5. For KCB against Pirates, well, that was how teams are welcomed into the Kenya Cup from the second tier. It's never easy if and you have been there with Kisii RFC, Menengai Oilers and Kisumu. Well, they had their work cut out against a very sharp Menengai Oilers side. Kenya Harlequin scoring 55 points against Mwamba. Mwamba doing well to score 22 points. Shows you some that it was an open game. Strathmore Leos, that game just 6 points separating the two sides. It was close, but remember we had called it. What do you have to say about match day one?
Well, match day one served as, most of these results were really on paper. You could tell that these teams were always going to win. Just a disappointing result from Kakamega in terms of the scoreline. We know that the scoreline would have been a different one if not for the rain, but a bonus point in the bag nonetheless. An opportunity there for Cabras to have 5 points against Impala. KCB were always going to beat the South Coast Pirates. It was always going to be a welcoming. A welcoming defeat, and true to their word, KCB lived up to it. Oilers versus Kisumu was also another one. Now, Oilers is another team that I would put in that top tier category in terms of Kenya Cup, and they had a comfortable 76-13 win over the Bravehearts of Kisumu. Nondes versus Strathmore. As always, it was going to be a tough one, and we'd called it, Michael. Remember, Foxy is a very cunning fella when it comes to organizing his teams, and definitely
But
was always
he's
going to
called
have his
Foxy.
charges.
He's called Foxy.
Yes,
Foxes are cunning.
yeah, very very cunning. So his result versus Nondes is not a surprise. I mean, even if he'd beaten Nondes, it would have been a very thin win for him. So a good opportunity, a losing bonus point there in the bag for Strathmore Leos. Queens versus Mwamba, a 55-22 result for Queens, playing in front of their fans at home. Mwamba were definitely going up against it, and Kenya Harlequin starting off strongly, and of course Black Blood. Now this result, Michael, I told you, and I repeated that one you they are a big team now, and they needed a bonus point, and they went out and got a bonus point. So that is how top sides operate, Michael. Don't be surprised.
Black Blood is now a top side, and we do expect to see them contending for place in the playoffs and beyond. And they're definitely going to have a say in the championship race. That one we cannot take it away from them. Now let's move on swiftly to the second tier, the KRU Championship, which went into match day 2 this past weekend, and there's the walkover. Western Bulls giving up the walkover against Mombasa. It's a pity. But that is the circumstances that are surrounding many of our community-based clubs, and we do empathize with them and do hope that they'll be able to find their footing, because Western Bulls has contributed to Kenyan rugby. They've given us the likes of Elkins Musonye, Davis Chenge, Bram Shikanda, you name it. All these players have had a start at Western Bulls. But away from being sentimental, let's look at the results. JKU at Cougars 35-5 over Two Marines. Mombasa, like we said, the walkover 28-0 over Western Bulls. UOE Trojans, they lost at home heavily to Daystar 67-6. Masinde Muliro, not joking around, hammering the USIU Marshals by 71 points to 17. Homeboys looking to return to the Kenya Cup, defeating 3-time Kenya Cup champions Mean Machine 31-9. And then the Zetech Oaks losing to Catholic Monks 28-11. Your take on the second division fixtures?
Well, just like the Kenya Cup season, the Kenya Cup League, the Championship League, has an exact number of teams, that is 12, and uh, on any match day, it's an interesting league for you to be able to go and watch, because remember, this is the second tier league. From here, you're promoted to Kenya Cup, so it's an opportunity for future Kenya Cup teams to test themselves in a second tier competition. Now, Jacob Cougars were comfortable winners at home. This was a result expected. They're good at home and should have dispatched two Marines who at least got a try on match day two. Mombasa earning a bonus point win, having being awarded that walkover just because Western Bulls couldn't manage. And yeah, it's a pity that Western Bulls couldn't make the trip to Mombasa. And all the best to them as they try and figure out the best ways to handle their transport and logistic problems. The UAE Trojans losing 67-6 at home to Daystar signals an intent from Daystar Falcons, who are really looking for that playoff berth to try and see if they can make it into the Kenya Cup League next season. Having played in the playoffs last season and lost, I believe it's an opportunity once again for them to go up against some of the best. Masinda Muliro 71-17 win against USIU at home. USIU not really doing so much to try and protect or even try and make that playoff slot this year. But Masinda Muliro last year losing in the playoffs, losing in the final to Impala. I remember Daystar were semi-finalists, losing to the South Coast Pirates, who eventually were promoted. So it's the solid, strong teams with a solid base and the foundation, like now Masinda Muliro, who previously played in Kenya Cup and dropping down to the Championship League. You'd expect them to try and claw their way back out of the Championship League. Yeah, that is a resounding 71 win. Michael, you just took down the screen before I could finish. Now, the other results from the Championship League, which I mean you can definitely look at and have sentiments around, is Homeboys RFC, who are looking to get back to the Kenya Cup League, and of course playing at Machine and winning 31-9. That's a bonus for them. And finally, ZTEC Oaks and Catholic Monks looked like this was the game that had much of a competition, and two varsity sides going at it, and Catholic Monks coming through this one with a 28-11 win, showing why they are one of the top ranked sides in that championship league, and of course, top seeds because they dropped from the Kenya Cup League. So an opportunity once again to go at ZTEC and a resounding victory. So yes, this is a very just similar. Michael, just drawing similarities to the Kenya Cup League. There is quite a big disparity in terms of the teams, the better sides, and of course the struggling sides. I wouldn't even put it as struggling sides, but teams that are able to actually go out on a match day and put in results and put in performances that can earn them a slot in Kenya Cup. So yeah, you can see that just like Kenya Cup, where we had one Youth versus Nakuru being a feature game that weekend, and also Nondis versus Strathmore having a bit of competition here and there. The Championship League also looks like it's boiling in that direction.
Okay, now taking the direction to 30th November 2024, it will be Kenya Cup Match Day 2. Interesting fixtures on the cards. I think for me, the biggest fixture will be the match between the Strathmore Leos and the Menengai Oilers in Madaraka. Yeah, I do expect a contest in that particular match. If you look at the other matches, Kenyatta University Blackblood playing against Impala. It's interesting because in years gone by, Impala's match against Blackblood was a walk in the park. They would be assured of the bonus points, but times have changed. Impala have lost players. They've gone to the second tier. They've come back with a relatively inexperienced squad playing against a KU Blackblood side that knows how to navigate its way around the Kenya Cup. I'm giving that game to Impala. I'm giving that game to KU Blackblood. I do expect them to come off with the win. What's your take on that game?
Yes, yesteryears means old glory, Michael, and old glory does not really help when it comes to immediate matters at hand. And Kenyatta University's Blackblood looks to be in a better shape going into this one, but I expect a challenge from Impala because they have some of uh, some of their experienced players are coming back slowly, and yeah, it should be a challenge. But playing in front of their fans at home, KU should be stronger in this case, and they'd be looking to really take it to Impala most. And I believe they have this as one of those games that they're looking to get a bonus point, and just like they did over Nakuru, it's yet another opportunity for them to show their dominance. Now the second game, Nakuru versus Queens. Nakuru playing at home. Kenya Harlequins are a stronger prospective as compared to Nakuru. Looked at the team list last weekend, and looking at the stock of players Nakuru has and Kenya Harlequins has, it's going to be a challenge for Nakuru to, really stop Kenya Harlequins from getting a bonus point victory here. And I expect a battle, but this one I give it to Kenya Harlequins. Mwamba versus Nondes. I mean, might end up being a home game for Nondes just because Mwamba don't have a pitch. But I also don't think that the Kenya Harlequins grounds are busy that weekend, seemingly because Kenya Harlequins are away. So it means Mwamba could have their game played at Kenya Harlequins. Nobody knows because the confirmation is yet to come. But playing against Nondes, Mwamba versus Nondes, that's a big game on any day, and I expect Nondes to actually beat Mwamba this time around and yeah, put in some points on the scoreboard or also on the log for Nondes and keep. I mean, I believe these are some of the teams that they've looked at and said that these ones we can actually go up against and compete. Now, Strathmore Leos versus the Menengai Oilers. Michael, Leos and Oilers looks to be a battle, but I feel like this is a far-fetched battle for Strathmore Leos. Oilers saw them during the preseason. I also saw Strathmore, and I've seen this last match day, and I believe the Menengai Oilers would be a very strong prospect for the Strathmore Leos to contend with. Now, Kisumu versus KCB Rugby is on paper a clear notch in the bag for KCB. Bonus point victory away to Kisumu, an opportunity to tour the Lakeside City and enjoy some rugby, and of course, get a 5 point in the bag as the KCB team head back home next week. And then, of course, South Coast Pirates versus Kabrai Sugar. It's a touring opportunity for Kabrai Sugar, but definitely the coach there, having not had a satisfactory match day one with the game being cancelled, still has quite a lot to look forward to in terms of trying to look at his team and also know what brand of rugby is looking to play this season. And no better opportunity than the South Coast Pirates, who are out there for the taking, and yeah, should be a comfortable bonus point victory away to South Coast Pirates for Kabrai Sugar.
Great. And for me, looking at the Nakuru Queens game, it just hit me 10 years ago. Nakuru's home ground, the Nakuru Athletic Club, popularly known as Suguta Valley, was an impenetrable force. I mean, that's why it was actually called the Suguta Valley, because you just couldn't beat these guys at home. But Queens are heading there, having scored 55 points against Mwamba. They will go into Nakuru on a high, and like you said, on paper, they are looking the side very likely to win the game. In fact, the side that will win the game. Nakuru will battle, but that is going to be a Queen's victory. Mwamba Nondis, like you said, another battle. Mwamba strong enough to put 22 points against Queens. And, for me, I'm looking at that positive, the fact that shows you the attacking side to Mwamba. But you just feel the Nondis forwards, the Nondis squad at this point in time, slightly more rounded than Mwamba, and obviously in a position to claim the victory over Mwamba. Strathmore Leos versus Oilers, like again you correctly put it, I do expect the Oilers to win this game. Strathmore will take the game to the Oilers, but it is going to be victory for the Oilers. Straightforward results in the KCB Nakuru game, KCB Kisumu game. I do expect victory for KCB, a big one for that matter. I also do expect Kabras Sugar to defeat South Coast Pirates by a big margin. There's no sugarcoating that. Cabras Sugar. Anyway, let's now go to the World Rugby 7 series. And hey, there is work cut out for Shuja. They are featuring at the season opening Dubai Sevens. And let's just look at their fixtures and try to see how they can get out of their pool. They play against France, South Africa, and Australia. The pool matches are on Saturday, 30th of November. Walter, your take on Shuja's outing in Dubai? What do they have to do?
First and foremost, their pockets are catered for at this point in time, Michael. They go into this league, this season's opening fixtures with quite a good footing, confident with what they have in their wallets and in their pockets in terms of remuneration. And I strongly believe that the squad that has been selected, Michael, is talented enough. We might have the best. Now it's time for best to take on the rest of the world. And the opening round of games is also going to be one of the toughest opening rounds because the stakes are high. Teams have reduced, and yeah, Kenya coming up against France. France, fresh from winning the Olympics, even though they've lost Antoine Dupont, the World Rugby Sevens Player of the Season, I strongly feel like the platform has been set. The foundation for the French team this season is very clear. The standards have been set, having won the Olympics, so it's going to be an opportunity for Kenya to take on the best in the world. Actually, France, to me, are currently the best in the world. Kenya versus South Africa, another game that always gives us a problem. South Africa, but this time round we beat them in the qualifier for the Olympics last year in Zimbabwe, and they're out there for the taking. I, many years have gone by when South Africa had a very lethal and dangerous team, and one that we would not really want to go up against, but they are there for the taking, Michael. If you look at the current South Africa team, we don't have the names that we used, household names that really used to scare us, the likes of Sibelo Senatla, Roscoe Speckman. I mean, they have transitioned now, and I strongly believe that we can come up against a good South Africa side and actually play and beat them on the World Rugby 7 stage. And finally, the Aussies. Good on their day. Will definitely test our way of rugby with the very good, I mean, quality play in terms of skills. Try and spread the ball wide. Try and actually test our ability to defend and also our ability to play. So, Michael, no better beginning for any other side than to come up against Kenya, but it's also an opportunity for the Kenyans to tell the world that we are here and we are here to compete. And I strongly see that out of this pool, Michael, um, I am not confident about the chances of Kenya making it to the cup quarters, but I am confident that we are going to put up quite a good performance and maybe start strong, test France, maybe get a win, hopefully. But I mean, mcheza kwao hutuzwa. Anyone who comes up and says they want this pool, they'll take it. So, Michael, out of the four, I mean, it's an opportunity for every one of them to go up and challenge for the pool.
True indeed, like you said, a number of teams there for the taking, and who knows what the pool standings will look like at the close of pool play. It could be Kenya and another team heading through to the cup quarters. It could be three teams from this pool, including Kenya, heading through to the cup quarters, given the qualification system for the knockouts. But like you said, Shuja just need to start strong. They need to stick to their shape, keep their discipline. They are motivated, keep the focus, and the results can come. I think there needs to be that element of self-belief as well, because at the end of the day, these are players just like anybody else. Having said that, we do wish Kevin Wambua, the co-captains Samuel Asati and George Oro, and the rest of the team all the best during their outing in Dubai. And we will definitely be talking about this in the next episode. Still in the world of rugby, Alter, there was the World Rugby Awards this past weekend. Interesting outcomes to the World Rugby Awards. I'm just going to play the list of winners from the World Rugby Awards, and we will be able to talk about it. I think the way we do it, let's discuss it bit by bit. We'll start with the women. Madison Levy, the Australian Flyer, Women's Sevens Player of the Year.
Yeah. So Madison Levy, Michael, has had a flyer of a season. She is something else, Michael. She's a try scoring machine. Take her out of the Australian sevens team, and they tend to struggle most of the time. A gun on the wing, a very good defender. I mean, she's just a well-rounded player. A 6 foot winger who can run, who's very fast. She's to me what she's a scary prospect. I remember people were paying a lot of glowing tribute to the likes of John Alomo in the past, and how big they were and how strong they were. And Michael, I think Australians have a gem in this lady. She's just phenomenal, and it's befitting for her to actually get the Women's Sevens Player of the Year.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. She has been phenomenal to watch. She has been devastating when in possession and definitely has been an asset to Australia Sevens and a deserving winner of the Women's Sevens Player of the Year. Now, let's go to the Women's 15s Player of the Year. And the winner is Ellie Kildan. Ellie Kildan, the England fullback. Her contributions have been big. She claims it for the first time this year. She played a key role for the Red Roses in 2024. Do you know England won all 10 matches that they played in this year? They won the Women's Six Nation and they won the WXV1 title. And Ellie Kildan was vital. She was big for England throughout the campaign.
Yeah, she was very good, and it's good to see the English also getting rewarded in terms of rugby, and the women are now really helping England rugby get to the levels that they want the men to get to, and it's really good now. The English can actually invest more in the women's programs and try and develop more in terms of bringing forth more girls in the UK to play rugby, and of course befitting for this lady that is Kildan to get the Women's Player of the Year in terms of 15s, and yeah, looking forward to a big year next season for the women's rugby, and of course the World Cup coming up in 2025, and it's an opportunity to make sure that we get to watch the likes of Kildan. And company represent England and definitely keep knocking on those doors that predominantly the men have always led in terms of rugby in the UK. So congratulations to the lady.
Cool. Now, the next selection was quite interesting. Jerome Dare, um, Coach of the Year. I personally would have vouched for Rassi Rasmus for the work he continues to do in South Africa. But we forget that Jacques Nineba was in charge of the South Africans during the last Rugby World Cup, even though Rassi Erasmus had a lot to do. And then we also have another coach who, in my books, I feel would have been a deserving winner is the Argentine head coach and former international Felipe Contempori. You've seen what he's done for the Argentines, making them, well, they are a force to reckon with. There are no pushovers, but as it so happens, it is Jerome Dare who was named the World Rugby Coach of the Year. Of course, it is in recognition in his efforts. Remember, France had gone 19 years without winning a cup title on the World Rugby 7 series. And then they also won Olympic gold. And the interesting thing is that Dare is now the first Sevens coach to receive this award. Well, he's the winner, and there's nothing that we can do but to congratulate him for his award.
Yeah, Michael, and a very strong indication that the sevens game is one that World Rugby are keenly interested in. Giving the coach of the year to a sevens coach really speaks a lot, and befitting, of course, for Jerome to get that one because playing in front of their fans, they won the Olympics, which many would not really have given it to them. Coming up against Argentina, who are strongly contenders for the Olympics and had been fresh from winning the World Rugby 7 Series last season. I guess that turnaround in performance from the World Rugby 7 Series to winning the Olympics and the coach of the year for Jerome. And yeah, befitting for him to actually get it. Now, Argentina can, as you say, Contemponi would have been a good candidate, but at this point in time, Michael, Olympics comes once in 4 years. There wasn't a clear picture on who's a coach at South Africa, and also last year, I guess, after the World Cup, pretty sure South Africa and its coaching unit had quite a glowing tribute to the head coach, and of course, the World Rugby fraternity would definitely have hailed the performances of Coach Jacques Nineba. But yeah, here is an opportunity for a seventh coach who's won the Olympics to get something on the world stage, and credit to Jerome.
Yeah, credit to Jerome. And one of his players, the star player indeed, voted men's sevens player of the year, Antoine Dupont. Well, Dupont helped France win their first HSB Sevens titles since 2007. They won in Los Angeles and in Madrid. They also won the Olympic gold, and Dupont was really, what can I say? He was really instrumental. Showed his class in sevens, and he was just like the X factor for France. And in winning the sevens player World Rugby player award for sevens, he becomes the first male player in history to be named World Rugby Player of the Year in both sevens and 15s. Remember, 2021, he was voted World Rugby Player of the Year in the 15s version of the game. And I think for Dupont, a befitting tribute to his efforts so far. We saw that how big he was for France in the 15s World Cup as well. It's a pity they didn't go on to the championship match, but such is the value of Antoine Dupont.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely France's poster boy. He's a phenomenon to watch both in sevens and 15s, and I guess he was the ingredient. I mean, that addition to the French national seven side, which really propelled them to a world stage where they won the Olympics. Remember, prior to the Olympics, they had won one of those sevens titles on the World Rugby Seven Series. So it was clearly building nicely towards the Olympics, and yeah, befitting for Antoine Dupont to play the game, and the way he plays the game for Toulouse, the way he plays the game for France, the way he plays for the national sevens and 15s sides is just good to watch. And yeah, he's one of the best of our times, Michael, and it's really good to see a scrum of really getting glowing tributes across the world. And yeah, there's life and there's a future in rugby for the players of the caliber of Antoine Dupont to actually be head above shoulders among us giants, and stand out and earn something and become something for themselves. So congratulations to Antoine Dupont.
Yeah, that was a big result for Antoine Dupont. And now the accolade that everybody was waiting for and had been talking about, and it couldn't have gone to a more deserving fellow than Peter Steph Dutoit. Yes, I support the All Blacks, but one cannot take away the magic, the glory from Dutoit, all that he has done. And remember, in winning the accolade, this is his second time winning it. He was voted World Rugby Men's Player of the Year in 2019. And in doing so, he joins a select group of players who've won the award more than once. And they all happen to be All Blacks, Dan Carter, Richie Mako, and Bowden Barrett. But talking about Peter Steph Dutoit, he has been immense and ever present for South Africa.
Mm. Yeah, he has put in a big shift in the World Cup last year. Helped South Africa achieve that World Cup winning. Game against the All Blacks. I mean, he was really instrumental and quite a strong force behind the park. Remember, South Africa really thrive around playing the forwards game, and he's been very good both on attack and defense. So yeah, just like you said, joining an elite group of players who've won the World Rugby Player of the Year twice, and a befitting way, of course, to end a year that the Springboks would say has been one of their best. Because remember, I guess the challenge has always been to play and win against the All Blacks, and having played and won and lost maybe once this year, they can sit home, relax, and enjoy, and call this year's festivities a success as they head into the Christmas period and everything that they've done this year. So congratulations to Peter Steph Dutour and yeah, the South African fraternity for getting one of theirs in the pinnacle of rugby in the world.
Absolutely. And we are still dealing with international rugby. The autumn internationals have been ongoing from early November. We had more matches this past weekend. Let's look at them and discuss them at length. We'll start with the result between France and Argentina. The French winning this game 37-23, but the tale behind this game belies a lot because at one point France were 39 up against the Argentines. The Argentines, a late second half comeback, but it wasn't enough. But it was still a great game of rugby.
Yeah, definitely. France having a field day in the first half and having it hard in the second half. Argentina are not a team that you could easily shove away, and they understand themselves. They know how best they are when it comes to playing versus the Northern Hemisphere. And well, France were there for the taking, but definitely had something up their sleeves. They had Antoine Dupont playing, and definitely that is something when it comes to the French national team. So a good result in the bag there for France, and definitely a good result for Argentina, having scored 23 points against the French at home. Should be a confident look for the coaches as they analyze what the autumn international was for Argentina. Now, Italy versus New Zealand was another one. A tough game on paper for the Italians, but coming strongly against the All Blacks, and yeah, actually giving them a run for their money, and one of the hardest games I've seen All Blacks play against the Italians. And credit to the Italians who've really matured over the last couple of years, and now look like a very good team that takes part in the Six Nations. And also that I believe that Six Nations opportunity has really helped them develop into a very strong team, and no longer wooden spoon contenders for the Six Nations.
I beg to differ. I think they'll still linger around there, them and Wales, but we'll talk about Wales in a minute. I think for me, New Zealand struggled. They labored. Um, Reza is settling into the job quite difficultly and has his work cut out. They were less than impressive, but like you said, this is not to take away anything from the Italians. They showed up on the day. And remember, this was also the final test match for loyal servants of New Zealand rugby, of the All Blacks, Sam Cane and TJ Perenara, who have been with the team for quite a while and have given their best years. They will be exiting after that. But like we said, tough game. Italy looking to take the positives from this into the Six Nations.
Yeah, definitely the Italians will be looking, to go into the Six Nations with a lot of confidence. Now, the English versus the Japanese side, Eddie Jones coming up against Steve Borthwick, former side of Eddie Jones, one of the least capped Japanese side to ever come up against the English. And a convincing 59-14 win in favor of the English. A good result there for the English. The Red Roses really needed that one against Japan, and yeah, should be a good one to assess themselves, and also see where to correct moving into next year's Six Nations.
Yeah, remember,
Also elsewhere, Scotland.
remember, England were on a 5-test losing run heading into this game, so that victory was badly needed, and it's good that they got it.
Yeah, it was really needed, and yeah, it calms down the nerves of the fan base, and of course the English the English Rugby Union. Now, Scotland versus Australia, another massive game that was played in front of the Murrayfield fan base. I mean, Australia came into this one looking for a grand slam for their tours this year, but Scotland proving to be a tough one for them. I mean, you have the likes of Sione Tuipulotu, who he owes his allegiance, of course, to Scotland, but has ties to Australia, his country of birth, coming and playing against his team from home. Kids would say that this is an opportunity to watch someone go up against his very own, and getting a good result, 27-13 win in favor of the Scottish. And Michael, this is a very good result for the Scottish team heading into this year's Six Nations, and also signals the intent that the coaching and the Scottish team have.
Yeah, and you have to give it to Sione Tuipulotu leaving Australia because he was frustrated at a lack of playing opportunities, getting those opportunities in Scotland, scoring 2 tries in the victory against the country of his birth. But like you said, good workout for both teams heading into their respective competitions. Now, Wales, it's just getting worse for Wales. They've completed a whole calendar year without a victory. They have lost their 12th test match in a row. They lost to South Africa 45-12 at the Principality. And can you imagine, this is the first time since 1937 that Wales have not won a game in a calendar year. South Africa were not at their best, but they were playing Wales and they didn't have to be at their best. A lot of problems in store. Warren Gatland's job looking at stake, but reading some commentary which points to deeper problems within the Welsh Rugby Union and the Welsh rugby setup, in terms of like player development, player pathways and all. It is coming to bite them at elite level. Well, the other match that was played was Ireland versus Fiji. It ended 52-17 to the Irish. It was a straightforward result there, really, for the Irish against the Fijians. Ireland as well were looking for, what can I say? They were looking to blood the younger players, new players into the squad, which they did. And they got the result against a Fiji side who you just feel on the day were going through the motions. Well, that is it. That is a recap of what we have been talking about, local and international rugby. We look to have lost Walter, probably due to connectivity problems. But as it is, we will be looking forward to more action in the Kenya Cup and in the internationals. And as we sign out, just once again want to recap the fixtures that will be coming in the Kenya Cup on match day 2, fixtures to watch out for. We've already given our insight into what to expect from those matches on match day 2. But here it is, just so that you are informed as we head into the close of the show. Kenyatta University Black Blood will be home to Impala RFC. Nakuru host Queens in Nakuru. Mwamba play Nondis. Strathmore Leos against Oilers. Kisumu versus KCB Rugby. South Coast Pirates versus Cabra Sugar. Those are our match day 2 fixtures. We will be talking more about Kenyan rugby throughout the week. A lot of updates. And Walter looks to be back. He is back as we are coming towards the close of the show. Walter, well, I picked up from where you disappeared, and I was just, informing our viewers that we are coming to the close of the show. A lot to look forward to next week, a lot of things to talk about. As we close the show today, what has been your rugby highlight of the week, and what are you looking forward to coming into the next week?
Well, Michael, my rugby highlight this week has been I've had an experience of being at the lowest league in the country, that is the Nationwide League. I've had an opportunity to take through my team over the last two games, and I'd say that it's an experience just looking at how the league is down here, the structures, the facilities, and definitely what it takes for you to be able to have a solid union all the way from Nationwide to Kenya Cup. And yeah, it has been a humbling experience. I have done this before, Michael. It's not that it's the first time, but I've just had to rekindle the memories of how starting a team and also starting a program just like the one we've started at Rugby on the Road is, and the amount of work you put in, the amount of effort, the financial implication, both on myself and of course our well wishers. And yeah, it has been a humbling experience, but definitely looking forward to more as I try and build this product. uh, Further afield, my biggest week moment would be the fact that the M-Pesa crew have joined the Kenya Rugby Union fraternity once again. A couple of years ago, we had Safaricom, who were part and parcel of our sponsorship teams, and they left the game, and we've definitely had a struggle when it came to corporate partnerships over the last couple of years. And I'd really love to laud the Kenya Rugby Union chairman Sasha Mutai for notching this one up, and of course. This one now opens up doors for more corporate engagement, and I'm looking forward to that. It's now time to actually look at our leagues. Once we are done sorting out problems at national teams, I'd love for the Kenya Rugby Union board to keenly concentrate on our leagues and make sure that we have products that can be able to now also attract big corporate sponsorship, just like the one that the Kenya Sevens and Kenya Lionesses have been able to attract. Remember, um, these clubs are the ones that produce national team players, Michael. So it's only fair that pathways are strengthened all the way from the club levels to the national team. So once we are done with the national teams, it's good that we also look at clubs, especially community clubs that are really struggling to make ends meet, honor fixtures, and of course keep them afloat. That is pretty much my take this week.
Okay, my rugby moment of the week is just seeing the South Coast Pirates step onto the Kenya Cup. It's a team that I've actually followed their progress through over a couple of years, been silently rooting for them, and you've seen them knocking at that door, falling at the hurdles in terms of qualification. Just the fact that they are in the Kenya Cup, the fact that they are able to honor their fixtures despite the challenges that they are facing. Remember, their sponsor based titanium is pulling out of the country, and therefore they do have a shortfall. Just the fact that they showed up for the game, that they played and gave it their all, forget the scoreline, is big. And at the end of the day, they say rugby is the winner. Heading into the week, obviously it started well with that announcement from the Kenya Rugby Union and SportPesa and M-Pesa about the sponsorship for the men's and women's national sevens team. We do hope that there's a lot more good tidings coming the way of Kenyan rugby. But like you said, we all have a part to play in terms of making the game appealing, presentable, both to fans, to players, and more importantly, to people willing to invest in the game and sponsor it. So that's been it. Well, Walter, it's been 254 Rugby. Well, it's been a challenging episode, I guess, but the whole point is that we still get it through. Thank you for showing up. We will catch up again next time. And to anybody who's watching this, like, subscribe, share, and we will try to be live next time and incorporate comments from the audience. But for now, I'm signing out. Michael Kwambo, all the way from this side of the internet, and that is Walter Orangi on the other side. Catch you again next week.